morning.
Is it?
They are.
What, on Twitter?
Yeah, they are. No, you don't know we're on air, do you?
No.
This is. I'm just having an on-air, off-air conversation with Richard Vallihu, who's the Chief Executive of Transnet Engineering. It's good to have you with us. Welcome to Morning Live.
Thank you very much, Dan.
So besides the training facility, the glasses are causing the biggest... You have no idea. I think you're going to have to start mass producing these and selling them. You could knock a couple of the big brands.
Ones.
Oh, I know. I'm looking at those. Let's get serious, okay? This is fantastic. I've loved this morning and looking at these students and the excitement around this. This is a success story.
Well, I think it's fantastic. You know, if you look around you here in Salt River. By the way, this is the oldest building in Transnet. It's 150 years
150
old.
years old. It's amazing.
But you look at the modern equipment that we have here and the skills, training, and the capability that we are building. I think it's really the more important thing that we do here. And the National Skills Fund has given us more capacity. In other words, we used to have 200 students coming through. Now we've got 300. And the entire Transnet Engineering, in our 18 schools, we have a capacity for 2,000 students. With the National Skills Fund of 175 million, it means we can train 1,000 students more in the 14 different trades that we provide nationally.
Give us an indication of how much it actually costs to train a student, to get a trade. What are we looking at?
Well, you know, you're looking at about 6% of our budget that goes into training. And the students come here, they've got an allowance that they get. So we have 3,000 students, so it's quite costly for the company. And the important thing is that most of the students that come out of our 18 colleges around the country, half of them we do for the industry. So we train just about half, which we keep for Transnet and our different divisions. The rest is for the industry at large.
I want to know a little bit more now about the MOU that's going to be signed between Transnet and these FET colleges. They were touched on briefly a bit earlier, but let's hear it from you as well.
Well, this morning when you arrived here, we had a group of young women. We call them the Techno Girls, right? They have been here for the last 4 years. So we try and groom them from an early age, from the time that they're in grade 6, 7 and 8. Here in the Cape, like in all the other provinces, we are partnering with some of the FET schools. Like here we've got False Bay, I think it's West Coast and North Link, some of the colleges that send their students here for on-the-job training, sometimes to write trade tests, to get exposure, etc. So those partnerships are very, very important.
All right. Now, I've been sort of monitoring Twitter at the same time. Believe me, I'm reading all of your tweets, South Africa, but one of the big questions is the qualifications that are needed to get in here. I know my understanding is you need to have a matric, grade 12, and you need to have taken maths and science. Anything else?
Well, you know, legislation requires that you start actually at grade 9. But most of the students here, grade 9 legislation, but most of the students that come in here are already, you know, having metric qualifications. And most of them also have science and maths. So I mean that's not a requisite, but it's recommended if you come in that level. So we try and cater for just about everyone, from the rural areas, from the townships here. Most of the students here are from Khayelitsha, Gugulethu, Langa, and so forth. And there's a great mix as well. You've seen that there's a lot of women, young women students as well that come through. So we are making this place, you know, as workable for just about everybody.
So it's not necessarily that you have to have maths and science. It is recommended, and you have to have a grade 9, not necessarily a grade 12.
Yes.
Okay, well there you go. So I mean those are the criteria in order to get in here. A lot of people also complaining, and I know I'm going to wrap now. I promise you. They're complaining that they don't have access to the internet, but they would like to come here. How else can they get hold of you?
Well, I mean, look at the way in which we recruit the students goes into the rural community newspapers, so there's a lot of access, and I think that's one of the biggest stipulations that we put out there, so that everybody gets a fair chance to make applications and to have a chance to come to schools like this. And obviously, you know, there's a huge surplus of students out there, but there's one thing that I would like to say to all the youngsters out there is that, you know, the manufacturing, I believe, the sector is a place to be if we want to really improve and push up our skills base and our capability and our capacity in the country.
Thank you for talking to us. Thanks for having us here as well. Richard Vallihu, who's the Chief Executive of Transnet Engineering. Are we going to take a